Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ask Barry V Show. I'm Barry Vanover, and I have a special guest today. I have a longtime friend of mine. I've known this gentleman for over 25 years, one of the oldest friends that I still talk to and have had a relationship with, Joe Fishbach from his martial arts studio is in Raynham, Massachusetts. And where do you actually live? You live in Raynham, or?
We live in North Dayton, a town that most people haven't heard of.
Okay,
yeah.
All right, cool. All right, well, sounds good. You know, Mr. Fishbach has been, he's our special guest today. He's come into town to do some training with me and Mr. Baker and to talk some business stuff. So I thought, well, let's get him on the show. And let's have him help answer some questions and get to know him a little bit. Very successful school owner. You've been in the martial arts industry. Like I said, I met you from the martial arts industry 25 years ago. And back in the day, you've worked for some very successful martial arts schools. You've owned your own successful martial arts schools, and still today own successful martial arts studio. Now, your current location, by the way, Mr. Fischbach is a premier martial arts studio. He's one of our licensed schools, soon to be franchised location. And Joe, you came to us already successful about a year and a half ago, and you've grown your school. So with all your experience in the industry already, by the way, he's knocking on 300 students. Had about 240 when he started with us about a year and a half ago. You already had a successful martial arts studio, so a lot of people would probably ask, why did you become a premier martial arts school when you were already crushing it on your own?
That's a great question. Basically, first off, was because of you, my trust and relationship with you, and which allowed me to feel comfortable with this transition. Second of all was just how big the organization is, and how many more resources we have within our fingertips for my staff, because I'm fully staffed right now, which is one of the reasons why I'm able to be here today. But it was one of those things where we wanted a system that was in place that was successful, that it made it a little bit more easier for me to be able to teach my staff.
Okay.
A successful system at that, a system that works.
Okay.
And then from there, what we want to do is open up 4 more schools in our area. Again, being a part of this organization, enables us to be able to do that a lot easier.
Okay.
And it simplifies things for us.
So you came to Premier to be able to put systems into place.
Yes.
To grow into multiple locations. Of course, we aid in staff training and so forth. So great.
Yeah.
I just wanted people to hear why you, an already successful school owner, became Premier Martial Arts.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of times people call us, they either call our consulting company, Martial Arts Management Group, or Premier because they're struggling and they need help.
Right.
That's when we first started. Now we're getting a school owner that is successful, that's wanting to grow, or we're getting people that are starting franchise and licensed locations from scratch now. As far as conversions, taking an existing school owner to Premier, we'll still do that. But, we're getting a wider range of people coming into Premier. All right, man, I'm excited to have you. You were in town actually looking at our S1X models because you have goals of 4 more locations in the next 5 or 6 years.
Yes.
So, Martial Arts Management Group and Premier Martial Arts, we have a model of school called an S1X. It stands for simplicity, or your first location, or for your expansion for multiple locations. So you were down here. I mean, you went to 3 or 4 different locations last night, looking around, showing him for his his second school. So, all right,
yes.
Let's get into some of these questions. And the first question is,
Sean K. asks, my school usually has a drop in enrollment over the summer. How can I keep this from happening this year?
Okay, so, Sean's having a problem like a lot of schools do during the summertime. They have a drop in enrollment. What can he do to keep this from happening? So why don't you got some ideas? Let's hear from you first.
Yeah, absolutely. We offer morning classes for the summertime.
Great idea.
Which is always a big help for the parents.
During the summer, kids are going to be going to the pool all day, hanging out with their friends. By the time in the evening gets here for martial arts class, sometimes they're just too tired to come to class.
Right.
Or they're totally distracted and they start blowing it off. By like you said, offering those morning classes, then the kids get their martial arts classes done, and boom, they got the rest of the day to play. So great idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Summer camps. Keep things interesting. Themed camps.
Themed camps, having different, not only is a good money maker, but, it keeps the kids active. And some parents need a place for their kids to go during the day. So
Absolutely.
Summer camp's great.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. What else would there be?
Well, there's one thing would be to stop and try to renew all your students now before summer gets here.
There you go.
So go ahead and look in, just to keep the students from dropping out, is make sure you're looking in. If your summertime here in the South, our summer school ends mid-May and will start back mid-August. So during those months, anybody whose membership is set to expire during that 12 weeks, we want to renew them now, renew them early. I don't want a membership to end during the summertime. So that's one thing that'll help keep the dropout. Also,
any special incentives with that, possibly, as far
yeah,
as early sign up?
Got to do what you got to do, man. It's so important to get them signed up so their membership doesn't end in summertime, because if it ends in summertime, they've got such a tempting to wait till school starts back. And if they're out a month, there's a good chance they're quitting. Absolutely. So yeah, whatever you got to do for incentive on that. Yeah. Also, theming up your weeks. We'll do different themes over the summer. Every week could be added on curriculum that's not in your normal belt rank. So the last 10 minutes of every class, maybe it's tricknastics one week, maybe it's MMA one week, maybe it's a special weapon that's not in your black belt training. We used to call that, I think, the summer special curriculum, or I forget what we term it. Just to make it fun and different for the students. So I think morning classes was a great idea. Added on with a little extra fun curriculum over the summer and theme it up every week. And even providing a theme week, like, when you go to a baseball game, it's a free mini bat night. Everybody gets a mini bat when they show up. Yeah. You could do something like this is free ice cream cone week, and you're giving out either coupons to Minchie's yogurt place, or you're actually handing out ice cream on their way out, and then the next week you're doing some kind of maybe mini shakes or something from a juice bar that brings them in for you, little small ones. Or
back home we have Dell's Lemonade, so we'll do Dell's Lemonade.
Yeah, Dell's Lemonade
Super
week,
Soakers,
or
we'll do Super Soakers right at the end of class, at the back of the school. Everybody gets drenched.
Right, Soakers. Always we'll have a picnic over the summer and spring, and that week will be we'll give away small packets of balloons and cheap water pistols as they come to class that week, so they bring them to the picnic for the big water fights. Just things like that, are some quick ideas to keep your students. The main thing is make sure their membership doesn't end during the middle of the summer. You renew them early, and then keep things fun, exciting, different over the summertime. Another key thing is a vacation log.
Yes.
Is having the parents sign a vacation log at the front desk that tells when they're going on vacation. That way, you don't call them during the week they're gone, but you call them immediately when they get back. Provide great customer service. Ask them questions like, how was your vacation? Did you guys have a good time? And then ask them when they're coming back to class. Getting them training. That week or two vacation, then they're tired. They take an extra week. All of a sudden, they miss 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. Now you're getting ready to lose a student, and if they then decide, I'm going to miss this belt testing cycle, well, now they might add another month to that, and before you know it, you've lost a student. So keeping them active, keeping them training, keeping it fun, keeping it different, keeping it exciting, over the summertime, and providing good customer service with the calls and the vacation log, I think are all great, random great ideas. I'm sure you could think of a lot of other ones if we sat here just on those questions, but let's move on to the next question. And we have, the next question is...
Richard T. asks, I'm thinking of buying an existing martial arts school instead of opening a new one. Which one do you think is best?
Okay, so Richard, that's a tough question, bro. Man, there's so many factors that go into that. If I was thinking about buying someone else's school, I personally am looking at things like how many people still need to be upgraded in their school. Because if they have a lot of basic students, then they've been doing a good job at marketing, which tells me that that area is going to be good for getting new students. And I can upgrade all those students that are there. Mm-hmm. If they're top heavy and don't have hardly any lower belts and everybody's upper ranks or already been upgraded, I'm going to have a hard time buying that school and doing my system and turning those existing people into more cash and more money. So, and then plus if they're real top heavy, they haven't been doing a good job marketing. Now, that doesn't mean I won't go in and do a good job marketing, but it does show that they've not been doing their diligence and getting new blood into that school.
Which is probably why they're selling the school.
That could be why they're selling the school. Yeah, that would be thing is why are they selling the school?
Right.
You know, what's going on? There's a reason why they're selling a martial arts school, right? And then there's the asking price. How much is the guy wanting for the school? Sometimes the situation is they want so much money, an existing owner wants so much money for a school, and then you're looking to see that they're top heavy, and all these things come into play, and you go, you know what? For $40,000, I can go down the street and open up a school from scratch. And another thing is your finances.
Right.
Do you have enough money just to buy that school, or are you going to have to get a loan for that school? If you got to get a loan, now you've got a loan payment. You know, you've got your existing bills. The school's top heavy. They don't have a lot of new students in there. They haven't been doing any marketing. Their school, the mats are puzzle mats. There's no real tangible value inside the school. Their equipment's really old. You're going to have to spend money upgrading everything. It might make sense just to go down the street and open up an awesome school against what is a burnout owner anyway, because he's wanting to sell.
Right.
And, you know, that's a tough one. Now, you bought an existing school.
I did.
So you probably can answer this question better than I can at this point. You just recently did it.
I've done this on a couple of occasions throughout my career, and it, like you're saying, it could be a very sketchy kind of situation depending on how many people are going to stay when you buy the school.
That's another thing.
You know,
is it a personality-driven school? Which means, does that owner have some kind of energy that's going to be missed?
Yes.
And when he leaves, he's taking students with him, or students are going to quit?
Non-compete would be a smart move in a contract.
Is it a system-driven school, which means that owner never teaches classes anyway, and you're going to keep the staff there and hire them, so they're the ones going to keep the students around? I think that's the situation you had, right?
Yeah, that's what I did. It was already fully staffed, and when I went in there, it was one of those things where the previous owner made promises to the staff that just weren't happening, and then what I did, thank God, is as soon as I got in there, developed rapport with the staff and started building that bond and that relationship. And that was the biggest difference maker for me to be able to do that, was to show them what I wanted in my vision, just to see if what they wanted and what their vision, if they both matched.
Awesome.
You know? And then once they did, we just negotiated some stuff, and things have just been working out awesome. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Richard, that is some ideas for you, just some food for thought. But if you want to contact me, that question is pretty complex, and I need to really know more about it to help you. Right. But that was just some food for thought to be thinking along those terms. But feel free to give me a call or Mr. Fischbach a call, and we'll be glad to help you.
Absolutely.
All right. The next question is...
Walker B asked, I cannot get over the 180 student hump. I'm really frustrated. Any advice?
So, you know, I get this question a couple times on the show since we started doing this, and what is it? Walker's plateaued. You know, he's probably signing up the same number of students that he's losing every month. He's not growing. Maybe Walter doesn't have the ability. You know, it's okay to sign up the same number of students as you lose if you have the ability to get down payments and paid in fulls and sell equipment package, and you have the ability to upgrade your existing people. You know, our S1X models, depending on the square feet, at 1,200 square feet, such a small space, we know we can fit 160 students in there, and it's maxed out. It's done. Right. We actually need to lose 10 students a month so we can sign up 10 new students a month, so we have people to upgrade in the future, so we have more people to come in to get down payments and paid in fulls from to get our gross revenue. So that's kind of a great situation. Yeah. But if you don't have that ability, and therefore you're losing the same amount, then you're getting stagnant, you're not growing, and honestly, that plateau situation starts to digress. So they actually over a period of time, they don't just stay where they're at, they start backsliding. Yes. You know what got what's this guy's name? John Walker? Which one were you on?
We're on Walker B.
Right, Walker. You know what got you to 180 students isn't going to get you to 250 students. You're going to have to change what you're doing and look at your marketing, look at your retention. I mean, that's the two things. You know, your school, you can simplify it like this. I got to open the front door with awesome marketing. So what do I need to be doing different to get more people than what let's say you've averaged signing up 8 new students a month. Well, what can you do to start averaging and get more people in the door so you sign up now 15 new students a month? Right? And then what can you do to shut the back door so nobody leaves? looking at your curriculum, looking at your classes, looking at the excitement, look at the quality of instruction, look at your customer service to try to shut the back door and increase the retention and keep the students that you've got. Very often when I see a plateau, it's not so everybody loses students. That's a fact. But most of the time they're not changing their marketing. Like right now, if you're not embracing digital marketing in 2016, you're missing out, because social media, email marketing, all of this is your website, all of this is a great source of new students. But you can't just do that alone. Walker, when's the last time that you did a school talk? When's the last time you did a birthday party? When's the last time that you set up a promotional booth? When's the last time that you told your staff, hey, we're going to schedule 15 introductory appointments every single week, so we got to get on the phones and make that happen? When's the time you set goals and got really focused on appointment setting?
Right.
So all those things would help you get over that hump. But generally, you got to think out of the box and start doing more than you've been doing to break that hump of your plateau, which in your case is 180 students.
Right. Right.
All right, so the next question is...
John K. asks, I've been in the martial arts industry for many years. I'm a high-ranking black belt in several arts. I produce a very high quality of student, but I've struggled with the business side of things for years, and I'm getting burnt out. Any ideas?
Okay, so John, let me think about what you just said. You're talking about how many years you've been in the martial arts industry. So you feel like you've put in your dues and you've been in this industry for a long time. You also mentioned how high-ranking black belt you are and the fact that you have black belts in several arts. And you mentioned that you produce a high quality of student. All of those things don't make any difference in how well your business is running. And I hate to say that. Those things will complement an already awesome martial arts business person, of course, but those things aren't the end all. Those things aren't going to determine how many students you have, aren't going to determine the type of marketing you're doing, aren't going to determine the success that you have. So I think John's too focused on credentials and feels like maybe that it sounds like almost feels like he's owed something from the martial arts industry after all these years. Right. You're owed nothing in the martial arts industry or any industry. Who's going to determine and what determines how successful you are is simply the market. The moms, the dads, the kids, the adult students that are in your community, whether they decide to go with you or the competitor down the street, whether they visit your school and sign up or go no way and move on, whether they sign up at your school and then they're disappointed that they're not what they thought martial arts was and they quit. Yeah. So, if you had came to me with a question and said, Mr. Vanover, man, I'm doing birthday parties, I'm doing promotional booths, we do mass intros every weekend, we've got a great website, we do email marketing, we do social media marketing, I do every door direct mail on occasion, my staff is always at different community events and we're ingrained in the community, but man, things aren't working out for me. Well, now then I would have some things to go over. I would have some serious talk. I would be worried and concerned if that was true at this point. But right now, you're talking about things that doesn't make any difference, bro. You have to go back and quit worrying about how long you've been in the industry and how awesome of a martial artist you are, and go back and worry about your business systems, your marketing, the staff training, your customer service, your curriculum, the excitement of your classes. And that's going to be the big difference maker. So if any of those things that I just mentioned that I consider difference makers, if those are foreign to you, or you don't do any of those things that I said and you're not systemized, that's the problem, right? And that's either the information I would be seeking, or I would be looking to go ahead and get out of the industry and make room for somebody that's going to crush it and somebody that's going to do all of those things, because it's coming to you soon. Near you. Martial arts owners are getting more savvy and more sophisticated, and the industry's growing like crazy. So it's coming. That competition's coming, whether it's there or not already. So that would be the advice I would have for John. Real quick, guys, I'm in Las Vegas as part of the Century's MA Super Show. I'm teaching an instructor college for 2 of the days of the 3-day event. If you're worried about retention, if you're worried about motivation from your staff, send your instructors to the instructor college. I guarantee you that I'm going to send you back an instructor that is knowledgeable about the industry, understands the importance of being a martial arts instructor to the community, to his students, and to the finances of your school. I'm going to send you back an instructor that's motivated, and that actually has a plan on the Monday after they get back to implement some new fun strategies and ideas on teaching those classes. Guaranteed. It's going to make a difference. So think about that. And of course, you can, the MA Super Show or Maya Super Show, you can look that up online and get registered for that. Or Sean is putting a link up for you guys to go to immediately to get registered. Also, I want to talk about our marketing tip. Our marketing tip of the summer is, your summer events, promotions. Have you already got all that stuff scheduled? Do you know when the movies are coming out that you would want to put up a promotional booth for? And have you scheduled that? Do you know when the big events are happening in your town, the festivals, for your booths? Some of my clients in Utah have a kite festival that's huge. One of my clients every year gets like 300 leads from the kite festival. So, I guarantee you Mark Wilson's got that booked already. Here in Knoxville, we have the Rossini Festival coming up, which is an Italian festival. We have a Greek festival. We have a hot wing and chili cook-offs. We have certain events out in the park with bands and tons of opportunities to get out and shake hands. We were just at the Knoxville Marathon. The night before, they have this big, huge event where people come in and register, and there's all kinds of vendors setting up. We set up and met all the kids that were coming in for their parents getting registered and brothers and sisters and people handing out information about our cross kick program and our adult martial arts programs and our kids programs. Do you already have that scheduled out? Are you already scheduled to go to different daycares and summer camps to do your school talk program? Summer can be even better for school talks. Especially for you guys that have a hard time getting into the public schools. You can get into the daycares and summer camps, but somebody else is already calling trying to get in. Have you beat them to the punch? Get on the phone and call those places and fill your schedule up over the summer. Summer does not have to be slow. I guess that goes back to the marketing side of I think Walker's question earlier about, summer being slow or whoever the question was. That was Sean. Sorry, Sean. So that's some marketing tips. And I want to show you, I've shown you guys this before, our awesome job card. You should have these cards sitting around your school always. You never know when you're going to get an opportunity to visit a group of adults or a group of kids and do a presentation for them and invite them back to your school this Saturday as part of supporting that weekend's mass intro, right? If you don't know what mass intro is, you need to call me. You need to call me or Mr. Baker and let us explain what that is to you, right? If you don't have that system set up in your school, you're missing out. I was talking to Shane Tusole the other day, and Shane has an awesome school in Wisconsin, and he was talking about how, the digital side of what he's doing, his website and all that, I think he had signed up 3 or 4 students from that so far that month I spoke to him, but he had signed up a total of 25 people. The rest of them were coming from our traditional forms of marketing, especially school talks, because Shane really hammers the school talks and does great at the mass intros, right? Mm-hmm. So if Shane wasn't doing birthday parties and school talks, he would be looking at 4 new students if he's sitting around waiting for his website to bring him results. Right. You got to have all of it put into place. So you can find these cards at martialartsmarketing.com. They've got a lot of different versions of this for you to pick one. I didn't even ask you if you have any questions, man.
I got one question is what do you do with students that decide to stop paying tuition?
Right. This is always a tough one.
Because we're getting ready right now to sign up. We're actually signing on now to Studio Pro.
Right.
So what do we do with students when they're not paying and they don't give you any reason?
So you're moving from, you used a billing company.
Yes.
And they did your collections. Now you're moving to Studio Pro,
yes,
which is a management software that does your own billing. So what are you going to do with people that stop paying?
Right.
What we do is, of course, we use Studio Pro 2, and it's going to send out emails automatically when somebody's late, and it's going to send them emails on a certain schedule. After 4 months, if somebody hasn't paid you in 120 days, or not contacted you, or not made arrangements, or you can't get a hold of, they've quit and they don't intend to pay you. That's our theory.
Right.
So then at that point, we turn them into a collections company. And I always recommend, instead of using a national collections company, to use a local collections company, because they have a little more power being that they're local. They take it a little more serious, and it just seems to be a better collections process than a nationwide company to trying to collect local people's money. So local companies have a better chance at collecting that money. So that's our system. After 120 days, we turn them into collections. So now, we could take that on further into what happens if they don't pay in collections and so forth. But I always think that that's a personal owner's decision. But let me put it this way. If you're worried about what people's going to say about you and your school and your reputation in town, then I wouldn't even turn them into collections. Right? Because it's the collection process that will upset them. If you're going to turn them into collections, there would be no reason not to let the collections company take them to small claims court and collect your money. Because whether you went to that extreme or you just turned them into collections, now they don't like you anyway and will never say anything good about you. So the real decision is whether to even go to the collections process. My thinking is these people didn't make a payment that they owed. Just like any service that we didn't make a payment, us personally would turn us into collections. So why should we be any different? We're running a business. We need that income. They're the ones that did something wrong. And probably anybody that quit your school and owes you money probably still isn't going to say anything extremely positive. So you're probably not missing anything there.
But that could just put them over the edge to put stuff out on social
media. That's
true.
Now, if you just let them quit and you tried to call them for 120 days and you did your diligence and let Studio Pro send the automated emails and letters, you could, and then just left them alone. You might keep them from going on to Yelp or going on to your Facebook page or Google and giving you a bad review, right? So keep that in mind. So that is totally possible. So this is one of those things that's really up to the individual owner and how they want to handle situations like that due to, bad press and, I'm going to contact the Better Business Bureau. I do think every school owner should be a member of the Better Business Bureau, because if you ever get a complaint and you're a member of the Better Business Bureau, they're going to really help you settle that dispute and not put any marks on your record. If you're not a member of Better Business Bureau, they're not going to help you, and it's going to show on your record if anybody looks to check you out before deciding to join your school.
One last question.
Sure.
What do you think the biggest reason for people to quit your school would be? Lack of relationship, maybe money, maybe it could be
lack of
communication.
I think it's lack of relationship and lack of a student getting any better, honestly. I always believe that if anybody's getting better at anything, they continue doing it. I stopped playing guitar a few years ago, not because I was extremely busy. I was taking guitar lessons, not because I was extremely busy, which I was, but I was extremely busy. And I stopped practicing. I stopped getting any better. I got tired of playing the same things over and over and over, so I stopped. Right? So what really made me quit was the fact I wasn't getting any better. Right? So when your students cease to get any better, that's when they're going to quit. So you always have to look at your classes, fun, excitement, educational and entertaining, but you always got to look at different levels of your student body and are they getting better? Are they being challenged? Otherwise, they're going to get bored and they're going to quit.
Or go somewhere else,
Or go somewhere else. I like to think if somebody quits my school, they quit martial arts, because they're never going to find, even if we make a mistake, they're never going to find the service that we're going to give them anywhere else.
Right.
But even anybody can make mistakes when it comes to not paying attention to your C students and your B students and always focusing on the best students you have. So keep things different, exciting, and keep the students learning and keep them progressing. That's probably why people quit.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right, man, that was awesome having you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Good to see you.
I really appreciate it.
All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.